Coming up on this episode of Outlook TV, Vanishing Act at the Queer Arts Festival.
Songbird North Pride.
Looking ahead to the Vancouver Queer Film Festival. And much, much more. Hello and welcome to Outlook TV. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And my name is T. We'd like to thank the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations for the honor and privilege to film this episode of Outlook TV on their traditional unceded lands.
Outlook TV is the queer news magazine show that brings you the stories that matter the most from coast to coast. We're going to kick it off in Vancouver at the Queer Arts Festival.
This is a multimedia exhibit titled Vanishing Act.
Well, at Outlook TV, it's me, Ollie, and I'm here in Vancouver for the Vancouver Queer Arts Festival 15th edition under the theme of Hauntings. Today, we are taking you on a tour of a visual curated show called Vanishing Act.
This very moment across the oceans.
The theme Hauntings, it talks about erasures, it talks about communities and people who haven't been given the platforms that they necessarily deserve. And so the visual art exhibition, for example, is focusing on queer artists from the global south. And this includes South Asian artists and their diasporas. And it provides us a little more focus on artists that we don't necessarily get to see within a queer context. But I would say that the things that leap out to me immediately are a work that we have in the Sum Gallery on the fourth floor by Hank Yanagasi. And Hank is a Berlin-based artist who is visiting us this week, and they've been in the gallery this whole past week painting a mural on the wall. It's very beautiful. I would also say Electra KB's installation on the third floor is incredible too. It's very multimedia, it's got beautiful visuals. They've done an incredible job of recreating this entire environment in there. It's really immersive.
For me, Vanishing Act is not a simple and quiet vanishing away into the night, but it somehow denotes an alternative way of reclaiming power. It's sort of going back to all these notions of prestidigitation and notions of transience, which are very, very anti-monumentalist, anti-immortality, anti-retrofuturist. So a different way of proposing to take the future, which is not based on all those notions of permanence, but instead propose a different kind of retake. We're looking at roughly 18 artists, including artist duos, and they come by large from South Asia, but also from its diaspora. Yeah, we have a lot of artists from India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. We have artists of South Asian origin based in UK and US and Canada. Then we also have artists from Germany and France, but like with a focus on South Asia.
This much oppression I've never seen.
We're talking about communities that aren't necessarily in the queer spotlight. For me, I've learned a lot about what queerness means in different parts of the world. And I think that's probably the thing I take away the most from with the visual art exhibition and a lot with our programming as well at the Roundhouse.
Make sure that you head out to queerartsfestival.com to know what's going to happen this year at the Queer Art Festival in the Sum Gallery. For Outlook TV, this is Ollie.
Now we're off to Calgary to check in with Daisy Devine.
She turned her birthday into a fundraiser for the Sharp Foundation, and here's the show. Did you know it's Daisy Devine's birthday? Well, this Calgary drag queen is turning her birthday into a fundraiser. She's got bingo and a drag show with benefits going to the Sharp Foundation and the Mustard Seed. Let's go help her turn 21.
So the fundraiser today is for the Sharp Foundation, Mustard Seed, and the Canada Diabetes of Calgary. So it's all year round. We're going to split the funds up 3 different ways, and then at the end of in April we're going to do like a step down show to give them the money. Today we're going to have a drag queen bingo. We're going to do 50-50, and then at 7 o'clock we have a big drag queen show. We have the Miss Diva Dave coming. We have Miss Stare. She is the current Miss Rainbow Pride. We have my co-host D.W. Meadows, and we have Black Widow. And then it is an open show, so we could have some surprises throughout the day.
Hold your head up high for tonight and every night.
Daisy is actually my lady in waiting this year, and this is actually a fundraiser which is part of our year, raising money for Sharp Foundation, Mustard Seed, and JDRF, which is Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation of Alberta.
What is it about the Sharp Foundation that makes you want to fundraise for them?
I've been fundraising for them for probably close to 15 years. I've done Deep Roots, which has been going on for 13 years, 12 years of which I've hosted for the Sharp Foundation as a direct contribution fundraiser for them. I've had friends that have had to use Beswick House, which is one of the, I believe, 5 houses that they have. It's palliative care, end of life. And so they don't get much funding. So every little bit of fundraising that happens and donations that go to them makes a world of a difference.
I support the trans community, I support the LGBT community, and I just want to bring other people into the community, and I have actually done that by people who have saw my Instagram posts and so on and so forth, and they've come out because they see kind of that I'm out there, I'm doing what I want to do, I don't care where I go, and I just want to be known that, you know, somebody, if you want to come out and have a good time and just be yourself, then I'm a total supporter of that, and let's do that.
I met Daisy a number of years ago before COVID at karaoke. We were both at the same pub and just liked how each other sang and just introduced each other, and was talking about the organization that I worked at, and Daisy wanted to offer to do a charity event.
Happy birthday, Daisy, and thank you for all the work that you do. My name is Fancy for Outlook TV.
We're going to have to take a little break now.
We lost our shoes, hence we're in our Berkeys.
Gotta go find them.
Hi, my name is Sandy Duperval, and you are watching Outlook TV.
You wonder what this time.
Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
Our Toronto reporter Bruno attended Songbird North Pride.
Hello, Canada and beyond. Today I'm at Songbird North Pride, a songwriters.ca celebration series, the very first 2S LGBTQIA edition of Songbird North. Now I'm going to get off stage, go speak to the artists, and find out what's going on tonight.
Many words, conversation ain't my thing.
That's a little bit about Songbird North Pride.
I just saw that there was a need for it, and I kept pushing the envelope. And then we originally were supposed to do it in Vancouver during Pride, and the city of Vancouver had sponsored a grant. And then the pandemic hit, but I never stopped pushing for this, and I'm glad it finally happened.
I was thinking about tomorrow. Now
I like to say that my music is very empowering, uplifting. I like to, write songs that are about love. I love to write songs that make people feel good and sexy, that make people want to dance, and talking about my love, my kind of love, unapologetically, because I know that there's millions of people out there that can relate to the stories that I have to tell when it comes to love. Songs that really, really make people think about societal issues, and songs that really empower people to be, their best selves and live authentically. It's been really hard to navigate this city as a Black queer artist, especially in homophobic spaces, at times where I would go into studios and would be turned away, or people would ask me to leave, or not want to work with me because of my sexual identity, regardless of my skills or abilities.
you wonder what there is time. Just get
It took me about 10 years to come out. And since then, I've been involved in Pride. I am the spokesperson for Montreal Pride since 2019 and an ambassador since 2017. So tonight I'm gonna talk about my story, how coming out was difficult, I sacrificed my career, my potential in the industry, but I wouldn't trade any of it because I have fallen in love with who I am. And so tonight this is about, telling people never lose faith and never give up on yourself, because you deserve to be everything you want to be. We need to stop looking at ourselves through other people's eyes and really start talking about ourselves from within and tell the story as it is. It's my narrative, and I get to do it through music, so I'm really fortunate.
I could say the words I do to no one else but you.
I think this tonight was about truth. It really was. It was so raw and real. Like, I was almost in tears. Like, I almost bawled. Like, I held my tears back, but it was difficult.
Feel the sun in my skin, hands in the wind, with the sun before.
This most special and intimate event was made possible by the SoCan Foundation, Ontario Creates, and Unit 2 Community Space. For Outlook TV, I'm Bruno, coming to you from Toronto.
Let's check in with Angus, who checked out what's coming up at the Queer Film Festival.
Today we're going to talk with Out on Screen about the 34th Vancouver Queer Film Festival to see what the changes that have been made for 2022 and what they're planning to put on the program for this year. Please join us.
I was 5 years old when my teeth got kicked out. It was my first trauma.
What you'll see this year is that we'll be doing a almost fully hybrid festival. So every day of the festival from August 11th to 21st, we're going to do one theater or one in-person venue per day. But then most of the programming will also be available video on demand throughout BC as well.
That's my voice.
This year, the theme is Make It Yours, which is an invitation to our communities and to people. Kind of go back to the days where, if someone wasn't going to do it for you, we do it ourselves. That's our invitation to our community, is to, reclaim the space and take up that space again.
As a female of this type, I don't give a fuck if you like me.
So our opening film is The Empress of Vancouver. It's a local film, which I think is first in a long time for the Vancouver Queer Film Festival. It's by Dave Rodden Short, and it features Olive Howe, who is the 10th Empress of Vancouver. And it's a documentary about her, but also it's a documentary about Vancouver and Vancouver's queer history. We're able to snag a film called Besties, which is a French film, and it will be the Canadian premiere on August 20th at the York Theatre.
I want you to see me. I want to see myself.
We hired 2 programmers and basically created probably the most trans diverse program the QFF has ever done. One highlight film I would want to point out is it's called Death and Bowling. It's a lovely film about trans masculinity, which we often don't get to see in a lot of films, and so I highly recommend folks check that film out as well. And then I would also recommend folks check out Chris Lee's special presentation called the Abolition Film Society. It's a really, really cool project that she's taken on, basically correspondence between incarcerated folks and queer film. It's a very interesting topic. And then on the Sunday, we also have a workshop for youth aged 13 to 24 called Let's Activate. And it's going to be a short film followed by a workshop with Out in Schools talking about queer advocacy and activism and history and future and where we're going.
What are you doing?
The sand looked soft.
That's where Grisabella is buried.
Closing film this year is called Dramarama, also in person only. It'll be at the Playhouse Theatre on the 21st. And it's another coming of age film kind of set in the 90s with kids basically finishing high school and kind of like it's their last hurrah, essentially. And so drama ensues, as you can tell, and it's about basically these theater kids. And as a former theater kid, I think folks will get a kick out of that film as well.
Friends that are more like family.
We're along for the ride.
Yeah, so we're always looking for volunteers. Highly recommend you go to our website. You can go to outonscreen.com and find our volunteer link and sign up that way.
It's time to start asking some questions. For starters, what the America?
For Outlook TV, this is Angus Pratt in Vancouver.
We're going to have to take a little break now.
It's really hot out. I think it's some time for some iced tea.
Sounds good to me. Welcome back. You're watching Outlook TV.
Hey, Rebecca, have you ever wondered what's in a medicine bundle?
I have, and you know what? We can show you what Two-Spirit people have put in one for other Two-Spirit people.
Today we're at the CRBC to find out what the Medicine Bundle is all about. It's an initiative started in BC by Two-Spirit people for the Indigenous community. Let's go find out what it's all about.
And we have our Devil's Club Salve, which is a protective medicine. I think this is used for pain. So the Sexual Health Medicine Bundle project is an Indigenous approach to the HIV self-test kit. So under the concept of two-eyed seeing, we recognize the effectiveness of Western sexual health tools, but implementing them into our own communities, and so our own traditional medicines matched with Western sexual health resources, putting it in a, I guess, culturally safe approach, such as the Medicine Bundle. It's a spiritual approach to our sexual health, realizing that sexual health for us is a lot more than just physical. And then we have our white sage, and we have our matches and our little smudge bowl.
It's really great to be part of a Two-Spirit team. I'm Two-Spirit, everyone on the team is Two-Spirit. That to me is so amazing to be around peers and to be working with Two-Spirit folks. We worked together to create this project and created it by Two-Spirit folks for Two-Spirit folks. So soul satisfying to do this work. It's rare, unfortunately, that this kind of program by Indigenous Two-Spirit folks for Indigenous folks doesn't happen all the time. So I feel really honored and grateful to be included in this and to get to lend my voice and my love and my care to our Indigenous family.
We have our HIV self-test kits.
The first people that I reached out to for this medicine bundle to help get the word out was actually grade 12 grads of high schools, in particular Indigenous educators, and possibly, at least for those that were 18 plus, I thought it would be really wonderful if they were to receive a medicine bundle as a graduation gift. When leaving high school, I feel like that would be a wonderful time for me to have received like that cultural care and like sexual health knowledge, just like all wrapped into one. Those are all very taboo topics, and I think this medicine bundle is really great at destigmatizing a lot of sexual health that has been made taboo over the years.
We've had the opportunity to promote our project at Indigenous Gathering. We've had really positive and enthusiastic feedback from other Indigenous organizations, more specifically within the province of Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And with the DBS, we give an instruction manual on how to use the DBS test kit at home. It's been my experience that, you know, after educating myself and reaching out for help to other Indigenous and Two-Spirit people, I was able to begin navigating the healthcare system and getting the healthcare that I needed.
Wow, that was a lot of useful information getting the word out to Two-Spirit and Indigenous people. This is Patrick Massey for Outlook TV in Vancouver, BC.
We're going to take you out to Surrey now to their museum for their Pride exhibit.
A very colorful walk down memory lane.
The past couple of years I've been working with the City of Surrey Archives, and we've been building relationships with them and with the museum. So some years ago I donated some materials to the archive, and then in conversations with the museum we were offered the show and share opportunity, and so I was the person who was asked to do that for the Surrey Pride Society, because I have a history of doing LGBTQ history exhibits in City Hall every year. So I started with going to the archive and working out what materials we wanted in the display, and then met up with Colleen Sharp, who will be coming on later, and really an excellent working partnership with the Museum of Surrey. And so I decided what items we were going to display, what stories we were going to tell.
the Museum of Surrey, in our strategic plan, we are particularly interested in working with our gay and lesbian and like LGBTQ plus community. And so it was the perfect opportunity. We just revised our strategic plan about a year ago. And so we were so happy that post-COVID, we could finally do something in person again, and working with a community that we really felt we needed to make a better effort to be outreaching with and doing things.
In terms of working out what stories I wanted to tell, I wanted to show the diversity of LGBTQ activism in Surrey. So we have here the We Are Proud with Alexandra and Gary Lisling representing Share Vancouver and representing Pinoy Pride. We have the Red Ribbons for Life campaign, and we have obviously some Surrey Pride staff, some Youth for a Change materials, and importantly telling some stories about two Surrey men who changed things for the better, which is James Chamberlain's challenge to the school district when they banned LGBTQ-themed reading books, Martin Rooney and the removal of the HIV travel ban into the United States.
November the 11th, 2007, we went across the border because the dollar was 107 to the Canadian dollar, and we were going down to buy a turkey for, we celebrate US Thanksgiving, or did at that time. And I was stopped at the border and asked what my disability was. I claimed HIV. I was pulled in, run through the most wanted list, fingerprinted and photographed, and they told me immediately to turn around, go home, and never to enter the United States again. That was a 3-hour process of being interrogated. So we went home, and 24 hours later, I suddenly realized that, you know, my family lives in Europe, and at that point in time, to go anywhere outside of Canada, you had to potentially land on US territory, and it was pointed out to me that if I landed on US territory, I would be legally in the United States and could be hauled off the plane and put into prison. And to cut a long story short, after a couple of rallies, both in the United States and Canada, with an International Day of Action to the Department of Health and Human Services, thousands and thousands of letters were delivered to U.S. embassies across the world, and on January the 4th, 2010, the travel ban was lifted, and I became the first person, at least in Canada, to knowingly and legitimately enter the United States as a person with HIV. Wow. And I got my turkey.
This is going to be here until September 4th, and to thank the Museum of Surrey for their excellent working record with us. It's been really smooth and very positive, and I hope perhaps that we can repeat this, perhaps on an annual basis.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Outlook TV, but we'll be back very soon.
And if you have nicer shoes than both of us, why don't you consider joining and volunteering, and check us out on all our social media platforms.
I don't know, we've both got some pretty great shoes.
Well, you have nice nails.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rebecca Wyman.
And my name is T.
Stay safe, Canada.